Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister has raised concerns over the growing trend where municipalities spend the entire budget on salaries and leaving nothing for service delivery. One such municipality is Machabeng in the Free State, which appeared before the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Portfolio Committee last week to account for its Auditor General's report status. Municipalities in the Free State have now failed to produce a clean audit for 6 consecutive years. Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa now joins us to unpack these issues. Minister, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. So explain to us, how do we get to a point where, as part of a municipality's capex, you have salaries that consume the majority of the budget to such a point where it affects service delivery?
Good morning, Aldrin, as well as the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. Many of our municipalities who experience challenges, it originates from the competency of the administration. If you have a competent MM, a competent CFO, those are the key people administratively who will never allow money for grants, money for MIC, money for disaster to go to salaries, because there is an allocation which is meant for salaries and the other grants and allocations meant for service delivery. At the core of these municipalities, you will find that the administration is not competent to do things correctly. And the correction of this situation, Aldrin, that is why in a revised white paper on local government, the idea that is gaining strong momentum is the employment of officials should be non-political. It must be professionalization that must be on top, and this might eventually arise into a situation where there is a specialized team not under the control of municipalities that will do interviews for MM to ensure that competent MM are employed and have nothing to do with being deployed by their political parties.
Yeah. Does the Minister have any examples, perhaps, of municipalities where we can look at what that ratio is, the ratio of salaries versus what gets left behind for service delivery?
Aldrin, is so many of them, to an extent that many of them even fail to pay salaries because they are literally bankrupt. They have used every money, and unfortunately, when there is no service delivery, there are no salaries for employees, you can only conclude that through corrupt activities, the money disappeared, because where you find salaries not being paid, if you go on the ground, there is also no service delivery, and then you start asking, where did the money go?
Yeah. Could it also be a case of perhaps maybe a bloated staff contingent and perhaps maybe staff that are not fit for purpose?
For a staff to be bloated, it emanates from the MM and the CFO and Director Corporate Services, because all municipalities know the threshold. You shouldn't go beyond 40% in terms of your budget. The moment you go beyond 40%, it's an indication you do not understand the implication, because more money will go to salaries. So in all cases where competency exists, you will find that they are meeting the threshold. It is not necessarily then the bloated staff. The more problem originates from poor management of the fiscus, money meant for MIC, go and do something different, money meant for disaster, go and do something different, and only to find that you will have to rob Peter to pay Paul, which eventually, if you have run out of money, then you can't do anything, neither pay salaries nor deliver services, because your operations are not governed by competency from administration. Then it follows to political leadership. A mayor must be able to project that if in January, this is the money we have, the only next tranche will be in July. Are we going to run from January to July? If you have a competent mayor, he or she will pick it early that we are heading for a disaster. But if you have a mayor who doesn't understand, who cannot project, he or she will see when the municipality hits the wall.
Yeah, what sort of intervention can we then expect in places like the Free State? Because the portfolio chairperson for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs has also sounded the alarm when it comes to the Free State. We know the Auditor General has raised her concerns as well. Then you have the South African Human Rights Commission that has done their report as well, where municipalities are literally failing to deliver on the basics of their constitutional obligations of, for instance, water as well as electricity.
In this new financial year, we have diverted a lot of money meant for MIG in Free State to be introduced or implemented by MISA, which is our implementing wing as COPTA, to ensure that money that is meant for service delivery does not disappear and services are not there. That is one intervention in terms of the financial control. But we are also deploying people with more capacity on finance as well as management to assist the municipalities, because a bigger portion of municipalities who stay for months with salaries not paid, also service delivery not seen on the ground, are in the Free State. The working relationship with the new MEC is very good, and the municipalities were trying by all means to support them so that the allocation that will come for this new financial year does not go to where it is not intended.
Yeah, Minister, let me ask you about so this issue around when it comes to wrongdoing and allegations of criminality as well. In some cases, where whistleblowers become targets of municipal officials. In the case of Umzimkhulu local municipality yesterday, we just heard that the former municipal manager has been arrested. Speak to us about the role that law enforcement should be playing when it comes to instances where allegations of this nature are being made, where senior officials within government, not necessarily politicians, because the focus tends to be on the politicians, but the bureaucrats themselves are allegedly involved in this criminality, including targeting assassinations or targeted assassinations.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate what transpired yesterday. But then if you can go to the core, you might find that where there was political deployment at the administration, you will find what could have happened, like the case you are referring to. We want to commend the police for the work they are doing. And Aldrin, there is one issue we will propose, that let us have a dedicated wing amongst the SAPS to deal with corruption in municipalities, because wherever you go, even the ordinary people, they complain that the corruption is almost entrenched in some municipalities, from the lowest level of employees. When you want a small thing, which is a service delivery, you must pay for. Yet these people are employed. Now, a radical approach in uprooting corruption in the municipal space is one thing which we commend the work that is being done, but we need to strengthen our approach in dealing with corruption and prosecute these people and give them harsh sentence. Where there should be the recovery of money, that should be done. The asset forfeiture unit must collect from whatever possession a person have in order to send a clear message to officials that you are paid at the end of the month. You don't need to get to corrupt activities, because at the end of the day, you are robbing the community.
I wonder if this is a submission that Minister would be making to the Madlanga Commission as well.
Aldrin, as a minister, first thing I need to do will be to engage my counterpart, the minister in the ministry, and follow a process. I would not necessarily need to go to the commission because this is coming up in the consultations that we are using with the people right now. There is a strong view that a dedicated wing from the SAPS that will deal with corruption in our municipalities throughout the country, and